team. Haere mai and welcome. Welcome to another top Meet the Candidates. How's everyone going tonight?
Good. Yeah.
Yep. Pretty top.
All right. Well, I am Jessica Hammond. I'm top candidate for Ohariu. I am your host this evening, and with me we have Joel.
Yes. I am Rowlands, and I am the candidate for Southland. And I have prepared something a little bit different tonight, so I thought that we'd just start with that for a bit.
Okay, and sorry, I'll just say, and we also have.
My name's Ben. I'm the candidate for Banks Peninsula in Canterbury.
Awesome. Joel has a surprise for us. I have no idea what's coming.
I've got someone who's wanted to make a special appearance, so I'll just go and grab him.
I don't know if we should be nervous. Is this appropriate for children, Joel?
I think so. It could be all right.
All right. Ben, who have you got there with you?
This is my cat, Craig David. And she's actually a girl, but a boy.
All right. Oh my gosh. That is not what I expected.
Rebels.
Oh, mate. Wait.
Oh, it's hot in here. I wouldn't want to be a rebel fighter for real life.
Oh, Joel. You had me at vote top, mate.
Well, there's something a little bit different.
Well, that's our old logo, our old slogan anyway. That was awesome, Joel.
I asked my partner, and she was like, "No, don't do it. It's stupid." And I was just like, "I'm going to do it anyway."
Are you a Love Actually fan, Joel? I wouldn't have picked it.
Yeah, so that's where the idea came from. The TNG Boris Johnson campaign idea.
Oh yeah, yes, I saw that. Oh, very good.
Yeah, that could work all right.
Oh well, that was awesome. No, my mascara's running. That was great. Thank you. Very nice. Okay. Well, look, this is a Meet the Candidates. It's super chill. We'll just talk a little bit about who we are and why we're here, and then we'll answer any questions you have. So make sure you put your questions in the comments on whatever platform you are on. So, Joel, shall we start with you? Do you want to tell us a little bit? I know you've done some of these before, but I'm sure we have new people today. But so do you want to tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, and what brought you to top?
All right. Okay. I was born and raised in the Hibiscus Coast, and left school. I was a pretty handy little rugby player. I left school at the age of 15. Just wasn't for me. I jumped into a car painting apprenticeship, and I was qualified by the age of 21. I came down to Queenstown for a 2-week snowboarding holiday, and I've never left. I quickly threw myself into the local music scene, playing thousands of gigs over the country and the resort and different bands. Headlined the Winter Festival events and main stage events in town heaps of times. Supported Elvis Costello and the Doobie Brothers and local bands like Devil Skin and 8 Foot Sativa and other international bands strung out heaps. I could go on and on and on, but then I ended up started working for a skydiving drop zone, and I was the head ground crew out there. So I was sort of just looking after day-to-day operations, helping out with all the pilots, fueling the planes, mowing all the grass, helping all the customers get strapped into all their safety equipment. And then after a bad ankle break out there, I helped a close friend start a screen printing business. And we quickly have become the biggest commercial screen printing shop in the Whakatipu. And then I've been working with a broken bone in my hand from a misdiagnosed snowboarding injury 14 years ago. And that has finally sort of given way. So I've been on ACC since December. I was sitting at home starting to feel a little bit sorry for myself, and I got a call from a woman called Helen Marsh, who is our candidate in Northland, and she basically just asked me, she just said that I was really active on the Top Nation Builder site, and if I'd be interested in being the regional coordinator for the area. And I said, yes, I'd love to. And everything's just snowballed from there. I've been a supporter of Top since it was founded. I met Gareth and his wife in 2017. I voted Top last election, and here I am.
Kia ora. So happy to have you. Ben, what about you?
Kia ora. My name's Ben Atkinson. I grew up in Nelson, New Zealand. Nice sunny little place, was really great. Not so great for me coming to the end of high school though, because I was dead set on becoming a professional musician. So I hightailed it out of Nelson. I came down to Christchurch. I went to jazz school for a while. Spent most of my 20s doing a bit of other study. I did some political science and philosophy at university, a bit of anthropology and little physics and kind of everything under the sun. And worked all my 20s as a chef, but as I was kind of nearing on 30, I say I had my midlife crisis at 29. I started getting pretty depressed and had no real direction in life. I was partying a lot. The partying continued really until the last couple of years. And, a bunch of failed relationships, was feeling pretty miserable about my career. And then I was inspired by something I saw on the news where children in Mangere were going to school without lunch. So I started this organization where we made lunches for kids who went to school without. I ended up quitting my job and taking that full time as a social enterprise. Over the next few years, we donated 63,000 lunches to kids at 12 schools over Canterbury. During that time, I realized that I was real into community work and working with people kind of face to face, right at a grassroots level. So I started a men's mental health campaign with my friend Stuart, where we sat in the cathedral square in the middle of town for 71 hours, just talking to men about how they were feeling, providing a space for them to really kind of open up for the first time for some of these guys, and kind of show them that there were pathways for them to find services. I racked up the police a bit because they were basically, if you've been on Reddit roast me threads before, it was basically like that, but on the Canterbury Police Facebook page. I sent them a Facebook message saying, hey guys, this is actually really bad role modeling from a government agency. It'd be nice if you just tidied up the back end of your Facebook, banned a few words, super quick, it'll take you 10 minutes. And they politely told me that pretty much. And so I started a petition, and within like 48 hours, I was all over the media And they sent me a message saying, okay, just stop it, and we'll change our social media etiquette. So now they only post mugshots when they absolutely have to, and they've got a much stricter way of managing that. And I love talking about that because it shows that in New Zealand, if something pisses you off, you can kick the can loud enough and make a bit of a difference. So following on from that, I ended up getting into a job as a mental health and addiction support worker for homeless people here in Christchurch. So that's my main mahi now. I do that full time, Monday to Friday. It's really, really great work because I work with not just street homeless, but most of the time, like people whose situations have just abruptly changed. We're trying to find long-term housing for someone with schizophrenia and things like that. So it's really, really good because I get involved with WINS a lot. I get involved with Kainga Ora a lot, our community housing providers, the courts as well, Oranga Tamariki, like all of these things I'm engaged with on a daily basis. And then I ended up actually getting into TOP last year as a member because I had a situation with my partner and she was diagnosed with tongue cancer. And because I go into WINS all the time for work, I was like, oh man, this is what I do for a job. I'm going to stroll in there and make sure we get what we deserved. Knowing that she couldn't work for maybe up to a year, and walked in there and they basically said that I earned just over the threshold, so we couldn't get any assistance whatsoever. So I just dug right into the UBI and how that would help someone in my situation. And of course, I've been real passionate about trying to work out how we're going to solve housing for a while. And I work in community housing. So it was just a no-brainer for me to follow TOP. And then I ended up becoming a candidate. And I love it down here. Like Banks Peninsula is my place. I've done so many different things here. I've recorded an album in Littleton. I've started my social enterprise in Sumner. I used to make and then sell my own ice cream out in Corsair Bay over on the peninsula. And I live here. So it's just, this is my place. This is where I'm at all the time. So yeah, I'm real passionate about repping Banks Peninsula.
So you two have quite a bit in common because you're both musicians and you're both advocates for people who are facing different kinds of struggles. Yeah. I find you both, frankly, incredibly inspiring. And I really do. I just think actually this is probably a good, I love volunteers and people who do community work of all sorts, and this is probably a good time to say thank you to all our amazing volunteers, including Adam and Joe, who are running this at the back end and making all of this possible. We are almost entirely volunteer run, and I know some of you are watching now and you are incredible people, and we could not be doing what we're doing without all of your help. It's amazing. And I think we enjoy it. So if you want to get in on that, if you're watching and you haven't volunteered yet, we still need you, and we'll continue to need you into the future.
Everyone in Christchurch, get involved. Send me a message.
Yeah, I'm sure Joel, you feel the same.
Yeah, I've been getting a wealth of new volunteers recently. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Rachel. She's constantly sorting out all the emails for the party and directing people that are actually sort of putting their hands up. I had a woman who used to be quite high up with ACC yesterday come over and visit me. Super intelligent woman, and we chewed the fat for an hour or so, and then gave her a couple of hundred flyers, and off she went. So it's just been awesome to meet so many amazing people. I mean, there's been volunteers from Gore, from Tapanui. Shout out to Laura and to Libby. People down in Tiano who have been helping me out. Shout out to Mitchell and Martin, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. Greg, Jamie, Jacob, especially Brady. You're just all awesome, and I really appreciate Nikki, everyone. And I'm sorry if I've missed anybody, but I really have appreciated all your hard work. I couldn't have done it by myself. My father told me to bite off more than I can chew and then start chewing bloody hard, and that's what I've been doing. Yeah, thanks for all your support. it's the reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, and just back onto that sort of advocating for people. It's something that I'm really passionate about doing. I really enjoy just like, I really believe like a good leader like brings everybody up. He just doesn't want to like sit at the back of the cart and whip the cart and let everybody else do all the work. Like a real leader's up there at the front, pulling the cart along with everybody. And that's the sort of work ethic I'd like to see in government. Just some practical, onto it people that have real life experience. And yeah, through all of this, my hard work has been noticed and I've been offered a job. I'm the new migrant support kaimahi for Queenstown. So my job's basically to look after all the migrants in town that have been sort of lost their jobs. We've gone from 2.4% unemployment in Queenstown to 25% unemployment in Queenstown, which is the highest in the country. 7,500 people have lost their jobs. There's lots of people from the Philippines and Brazil that are sort of really wanting to hang in there. And I've basically got a new job and I'm here to help. We're not here to kick you out of the country or whatever. We genuinely want to get in touch and figure out who you are and how we can help you on your journey to be new Kiwis.
I really love that, Joel. So basically you bit off more than you can chew, and you're chewing it really bloody well from what I can see. But out of this, you've basically been headhunted because people have seen the kind of work you've been doing for free out of the goodness of your heart, and they see you're so good at it that they, it's about time that man got paid for, for what he's doing.
So I had three main goals, right? Double the party vote, get young people out enrolled in voting. There's a huge amount of young people out there. I'm looking at you young fellas that aren't enrolled, and you are part of this country and your opinions matter. So it just can't be a bunch of old people up in this, high seats and making all the decisions that are going to affect you later in life. So really get involved. I encourage you to enroll and vote and check out the policies, have a read. And then the last thing was goal number 3 was finding my very dear friend who has been made homeless after he was displaced when the campground we all lived in got closed down. Finding him a home. And I finally managed to find him a home. Wynn's had him in a motel paying $3,000 a week to some motel. And like I said, the squeaky bearing gets the oil. I've been niggling them and we've found him a house. So he's got a house that's $900 a week rent, but it's saved the taxpayer $2,100 a week. So job tidy.
Amazing. Look, we've had a question come through for Joel. Southland had Bill, this is a question from Craig. Kia ora, Craig. Speaking of amazing volunteers, Craig brightens up my day on the regular with making amazing memes and doing all sorts of other things. For Joel, Southland had Bill English for what seemed like forever. Since then, they have had 2 poor, scandal-ridden MPs. Do they deserve better?
The short answer is 100% yes. I'm not going to run down the other candidates, but I can safely say that I've worked a lot harder than some of them have had to. They've got teams behind the scenes that sort of, talk to journalists for them, write their stuff, and figure out where they need to be. And I've just been doing everything myself. And like I said, I did forget somebody, and Craig, you are one of them. Craig has been one of my go-to men, especially Craig and Liam. Every time I have a problem, every time I'm out of my depth, I message them up and they're just so responsive. They're straight away there to help me, whether it be answering questions that I don't understand or just talking politics. And yeah, I take my hats off to you guys. You're incredibly smart people, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for me.
Speaking of, amazing people who help each other out, our team of candidates as well are incredibly helpful. I think that this is my second time standing for top, and I absolutely loved the team from last time, but we weren't so encouraged to work as a team last time, and the difference is just amazing. And Ben, I've had a few panels where I've been sort of thrown in the deep end, having to talk very confidently about mental health services, for instance. And Ben is always so happy to give me a real insight into what it's like being a provider on the ground and the real challenges people face. And I really appreciate your help with that, Ben.
It goes in roundabouts, though. That's the thing, right? Because what I always say at my debates is, I'm not here to BS you. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to straight up tell you I don't know the answer, but I will defer to someone who will in our party, because, I'm not an expert on energy and climate change, but we have people that are. I've got my little pocket of knowledge and a little bit sprinkled elsewhere, but I'm not going to stand up in front of 100 people and pretend to know something that I don't. So being able to actually reach out to our party when we need to is really, really valuable.
It is genuinely an incredible team with a lot, as you say, Ben, a lot of different skills. And this is, it's National's slogan about the strong team, but I'm not sure they have the different kind of backgrounds that we have, and the different kinds of expertise. We had another question come through from Joe. What are your thoughts on the recent polling results for cannabis referendum being under 50% yes? Are young people the best way to increase that, or is it a sign of New Zealand's overall feeling?
I think there's just a whole bunch of lobby groups working against the movement. Like, you're always going to get more lobby groups against it that are going to get funding from a lot of conservative people, as opposed to groups that are for it. I've only seen a couple groups that are for it, and there's not a lot of advertising. They're relying on a lot of groundswell volunteers getting out there, putting things in letterboxes and stuff. But I'm seeing a lot of propaganda with just absolutely ridiculous facts everywhere. Not to mention National have whipped their caucus to basically come out and say that they're all going to vote no. Our candidate always goes, oh, well, I was going to vote yes, but I've changed my mind, and then says some dribble reason. Bless her, she's really kind, but she often goes on about how you can buy 14 grams, which is half an ounce of cannabis a day, how that's 40 joints. I'm someone who has smoked a lot of cannabis in my time, not for a few years, but when I was younger, I smoked cannabis. And I mean, no one's really going to smoke half an ounce a day. And I mean, at the moment, you could smoke an ounce a day, if you wanted to throw your money away.
Exactly.
And so they just come out with all of these weird facts about cannabis when you know that they've never even tried it before. They don't come from a place of experience. They just come from a place where Judith Collins has told them what to say.
Well, I suspect sometimes a place of hypocrisy where they have, but they're just pretending that with someone else.
That whole argument for me is completely redundant. I mean, like, you can go to the alcohol store and buy 50 bottles of whiskey if you wanted to. Is anybody going and buying 50 bottles of whiskey? No. 14 grams a day, yeah, sure, that's a lot. But this is why we need educated people that know what cannabis is like, have used it, experienced, know the benefits of it, be in there and, helping these people who are just clearly out of their depth. And it's like men making laws about women bodies and stuff like that. They just don't know. So let us in. Nandor was a massive inspiration for me. Abe Gray carried that on. Abe Gray's a big part of why I'm here. So we need Abe in there.
Abe is our candidate for Wellington Central, and is probably one of the foremost cannabis experts in the country. So yeah, fantastic expertise. We have another question. This one's a little different. Rachel, your cheeky so-and-so comes up with the interesting ones. All right. What is what is the most embarrassing moment you've ever had in life? Lol. Thanks for that, Rachel.
Me first.
Oh, whoever's feeling ready.
Probably the most embarrassing moment was we were playing a pretty big rugby game, and I scored a few too many tries, and I got a bit carried away. And
oh, that sounds terrible.
yeah, and I made another breakaway, and I went in to go and score another try, and I turned around and I gave the big yes, and then I sort of just got a little bit distracted with big upping myself, so to speak, and then I got smoked by some other dude that I didn't see from behind, and I lost the ball over the line, and everyone was laughing, and the whole crowd was laughing, and I got spoon of the day. Yeah, I'll never forget it. That's probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me.
I'm going to try and think of the most embarrassing thing that also involves me being absolutely awesome, because that's a good story. Do you have one ready, Ben?
I mean, I've done a lot of dumb things. Embarrassing though, that's a little different. Okay, I had it's a bit personal. I went to an ex-girlfriend's house to break up with her. And her bedroom was at the top of the stairs. And so I went up, I took my shoes off at the door, obviously respectful, went up, broke up with her, and I walked out of there feeling real strong, like, yeah, I did it, this is over, I'm feeling good. Went to walk down the stairs, slipped, fell down the stairs, like the 3 different part stairwell right to the bottom. Could barely walk, horrifically embarrassing. Hobbled my way out of there.
You really have to at that point, don't you?
Yeah.
I've had some time to think. I drank too much alcohol in my teenage years, and it took me a long time to realize that it really doesn't agree with me in large quantities. But when I was working for a printing firm, and we did the printing for Licks, which is a strip club in Wellington. And so they would give us free tickets for things. And so they invited all the women in the office to a performance of the South African Warriors, I think they were called, a male strip review. And when we got there, I went up to the bar and said, could I have a glass of wine? And they said, no, a glass of bubbly. And they said, no, we only do sparkling wine by the bottle. Oh, you guys are from this company, yours is free. So they started giving us bottles of wine. And I'm gonna skip some of it. There's so much that's bad about this story. But the bit that was sort of publicly embarrassing was throwing up in the taxi on the way home, which I didn't remember I had done, wearing my sister's coat. I'm sorry, Annie. Wearing my sister's. This is when I was about like 16 or 17. So I didn't remember any of this, but there was this real unpleasant person in the office. And when I went into the office on Monday, she was like, Jess, why is there a soiling fee being charged to your taxi chit? Did you soil the cab, Jess? Apparently I soiled the cab. Anyway, haven't forgiven it. Poor cab driver. I'm sorry, cab driver. Assuming it really happened. I don't know. Shall we move on? Okay. What are the biggest misconceptions you've all come across on the campaign trail, be it from punters or other MPs? What do you think we can do to better communicate TOP's message of hope and solutions and genuinely evidence and fact-based answers?
Oh, I think one of the biggest misconceptions I found immediately was that all the other candidates had written me off. And then I came in, and on that first day, I smoked them. They were underprepared. Eugenie Sage, the current conservation minister, she was the only one who could stand on her own 2 feet. The rest were just no good. And I mean, most of them have gotten better, but I just kind of annihilated them to the point where the national candidate sent me a message the next day going, "Holy crap, you were brilliant."
Oh, that's nice.
And so, yeah, and with all of us candidates have a pretty good relationship here, bar me and the new conservative guy. We kind of clash heads a bit. But yeah, we've all got pretty good relationships. But I think after that, they all kind of picked up their game a bit, because I don't look like a politician. I come from a pretty rough background. I've had some pretty rough times, and I've always had that job just out there helping people, not so much at the kind of politician side of things. So to see someone who looks like me with tattoos on their neck and hands and fingers and whatnot, and come in looking sometimes like a degenerate, but actually holding his own, has been really awesome. And I'm always really kind of just open and honest and funny in the debates, because most of the other people are a bit dry. So we try to spice it up a bit, and people seem to resonate really well with that.
Yeah, I'll agree with a lot of what Ben has said. I've been using poems and sort of just lightening the mood during the debates, cracking jokes. I've sort of started off a couple with "Hey, I'm really nervous to speak to you all, but I've been told to pitch you all naked, but it's not working." And then they all crack up, and then it just, I just feel calm, and I'm like, all right, I've brought them down to a level, and I can actually talk to these people now. And everybody has really appreciated it. I've had so much good feedback. The wasted vote thing has obviously sort of come up, but it's not a wasted vote. I mean, we got 2.4% of the vote last election. ACT got 0.5, and they just get in through getting gifted Epsom. Here's a guy who's talking about getting by on your own merit, and he can't even win a seat on his own.
Do you know how many votes he got the first time he ran in an electorate? He ran in Central against Nikki Kay and Jacinda Ardern, and he got 157 or 168 or somewhere in that bracket. So I'm probably going to get 10 times that. That's pretty poor effort from old David.
Wow.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, eh? But it's not a wasted vote. Vote for what you believe in. We can't just have Labour and National and Labour and National. Everyone's over it. Let's just start using MMP properly and give the underdog a go. We've done the work. We've got the team. We've got the policies. And we're going to be a force to be reckoned with in another 3 years. I tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, we're, in Ohariu, which is my electorate, and the electorate we're targeting, I think 3 years ago they underestimated me, and they were more ready, a bit more ready this time. But still, what's that?
Like being treated the underdog. Having someone say to you like, "Oh, you might steal a couple votes off so and so," but if you go out there and like at the debates, especially down here in Christchurch, what I'm seeing, because I've been doing my electorate, but also some other electorates, what I've seen is that a lot of the people there aren't fans of any particular party. I don't have my volunteers really showing up. I don't have anything like that. It's genuinely curious swing voters. And I've seen people go there, and at the start, the New Collins guy will say something and they'll scrunch their face up. And then 5 minutes later, they're sitting there nodding their head at him. So, there's 100 people going there really wanting to just hear who's going to best represent them. And when you know that, that's just awesome, because you can actually just go in hard and know that you're going to take many voters away from that situation.
Yeah. And I think probably the biggest feedback I've had over the last 3 years, when I see people who remember me from last time, they say, "You made such a difference to the campaign," because they are very used to hearing very samey stuff, I think, particularly from Labour and National. And if we don't do anything else, we make things interesting, and we challenge them, and really hold them to account for their failures, which really are multitude. So yeah, I mean, there's no electorate polling, so we'll see in 2 weeks and 2 days how much of a difference we've made in Ohario this time. Okay. This is just a comment. That 654-minute mental health marathon Ben did last Sunday was bloody awesome. Ben, could you just tell us quickly about that and how you felt after 654 minutes on a very
man.
I had a sore lower back. And that was really great. 654 people in New Zealand took their life or died by suicide last year. And so those figures were released about a month ago by the coroner. They're the provisional figures, so they might be adjusted at some point. A volunteer of mine, Jack, was sitting with me, and he said, oh, well, why don't you do like a bike a kilometer for every person that took their life? And I thought, well, I'm a terrible cyclist, and that'll mean that I'll have to basically bike to Invercargill, which will probably take me a couple of weeks, and that'll be my entire campaign gone. So we thought, oh, well, maybe we could do a live stream, 1 minute for every person. It means it's just shy of 11 hours. So we were able to bring on, I think I had 16 or 17 guests for about half an hour each throughout the day, and we had a really wide array of perspectives. We had people with lived experience who are studying in mental health right now or had been misdiagnosed. We had one of my friends on, James, who's got ADHD and autism, who also suffers from mental health. We had Jennifer Shields, who's a 2IC at Utopia. She's a trans woman, so she was able to discuss mental health in the community with youth rainbow folk here in Christchurch. We had some men's perspectives, some Wahine perspectives, some Pacifica perspective. We just really got to hear from a lot of different people about what mental health is like in their community, from the elderly, like all of this. We got a chat with Joe. We had a chat with Andrew, who's one of our candidates from up north. Also Jeff Simmons, our party leader. He came in and role modeled talking about being vulnerable. So we really just got a lot of good chats from people that were being quite vulnerable themselves by opening up, but also getting to learn about different people's perspectives. So the main thing of the day was perspective and listening.
Amazing. I was only able to come in and out because I had a bunch of events on, but did you take breaks? Did you eat?
I had like little wee toilet breaks and snack breaks. I ate almost a packet of Belgian biscuits. And which I found out this year aren't even from Belgium. So yeah, originally German. But yeah, no, I snacked through the day, and I was all good. I drank lots of water, drank lots of coffee.
Nice. Question from Dave. Is TOP going to be standing more candidates next election? Hard to give you a vote if there is no candidate. Well, it's easy to give us a vote if there's no candidate. We would love your party votes. But the the answer, I'll take this one, shall I? The answer is absolutely yes. We would love to stand candidates in more electorates. And this is what I say every time someone says in one of our comments, do you have a candidate in X? If we don't, I will say to them without fail, if you or someone you know you think would be a good candidate, get in touch with us ahead of 2023. And the best thing you can do right now, if you are considering it, is get in touch with any of us and maybe start volunteering, coming along to either in-person or virtual events. We have, for instance, in Palmerston North, we don't have a candidate, but we've got a great group of volunteers, same in Rotorua. If you can get a few people together and start having meetups, you can build a top community in your electorate, and that'll stand you in great stead. There is a process to go through. You apply to be a candidate, and not everyone who applies is approved as a candidate, but you have nothing to lose, and we would love to have more candidates in 2023. It makes a huge difference.
He's looking at you, Henry.
Heck yes, I tried with Henry, and maybe 2023 if you're watching, mate. Yeah, but lots more would be amazing. And you don't have to know what you're doing. None of us knew what we were doing when we started, right? It's a great team. We look after each other.
Yeah, the whole experience has been like baptism by fire, just literally thrown in the deep end, and that's how you learn to swim, eh?
Yeah. I don't know about you two, but I had never been to a Meet the Candidates event before I was one of the candidates being met. So I don't know. I got the comment afterwards that it was in the newspaper actually, that I was arguably the most combative, and I was like, oh, we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to sort of say you're, but I don't know. Maybe that doesn't happen normally. Maybe that's why they said it made a difference, because they're also boring normally.
I'd been to one last election at the university, but it was kind of under a weird pretense, because last election, myself and my friend Alice started something called Party, which was a youth political engagement campaign. So the whole idea of it was, we started a Facebook group. We ended up with around 4,000 young members. And the thing was, if you vote and send us a photo of your I voted sticker, you can choose from like one of these 8 random creative things that we have got all these people together to do, and they will do that for you. So we had like, silly tarot readings. We had people write little jingles, like write and record little jingles for people, which you can imagine with a group of 4,000 people actually got really out of control. My task was to draw penis caricatures of the person, and I thought no one's going to choose that. And on election night, I was there like drawing like mad, like drawing all these diddle pictures. But yeah, so I went to this debate at the university, and our whole thing was about kind of being silly and having fun. So like our promo video for it was my friend Alice doing all the talking and me just standing there sculling a beer for the entire minute, and then that was the video. But yeah, so I went to that debate. So I got to debate there, but not against the other candidates. It was just kind of like, hey, we're party. We're not actually a party, but we just want you to party with us and vote. So it was quite weird. But I guess it kind of gave me a little bit of an idea of what to expect with the events.
All right, we have so many questions. Okay, sorry, I'm just going to this. My eyes are struggling here. Okay, from Reese. For the South Island, there are different environmental concerns as opposed to the North Island with farming, etc. I was wondering, what do you guys think we can do to improve our environment for the future generations, particularly in the South Island?
I would like to see tourism take a step back. I mean, it was really, really ramped up under the Key government. He came in and sort of really turned it up to 11 on tourism, and we just didn't have the infrastructure in place. And I mean, I hate to say it, but Queenstown used to attract a really sort of bizarre, quirky, entrepreneurial type of person. You know, the type of people that came to live in Queenstown were just different. And we had something really, really cool going on there for a while. I thought when I first moved here to the end of that, and yeah, it's just like I would like to see Queenstown marketed less and discovered more. So basically, that was the reason that we were getting these sorts of people, because it wasn't pushed down everybody's throat. It wasn't sort of New Zealand's best kept secret. It was somewhere where, you know, if you actually were lucky enough to sort of discover the place and discover the scene and discover the nightlife and what the area has to offer, then you know, it's there's a saying in Queenstown that gets passed around a lot by a lot of the old locals, and it's basically like, if you move to Queenstown, it's either going to chew you up, spit you out, or it's going to grind you into a diamond. And I'm still getting grinded, so I just love the South Island, everything about it. I've been coming down here since I was about 10 years old on holidays. We used to come here every Christmas. My grandmother was born and bred in Lumsden. I've got roots to the first sort of immigrants from Scotland down in Dunedin. And yeah, this is just an amazing place.
All right.
Yeah, in my electorate, man, we've got so many unique environmental problems because it's like Joel, it's a large electorate. Joel's is probably like 5 times larger than mine. But kind of each pocket for us has different issues. So like Lake Ellesmere is the most polluted body of water in our country. And that's just due to over intensification of dairy farming. So really it's about the right farm in the right place. So there needs to be a bit of a change there. And our water here is terrible. In 2 ways, our nitrate levels are too high. Secondly, there's been the issue with the chlorination of our water. So we have something like 148 wellheads here in Canterbury, and 122 of them needed to be replaced. I think 80 of them have been, but in the meantime, they chlorinated it. It was supposed to be finished September last year, but at the moment it's looking like it might be sorted out by Christmas, but you never kind of know. And the conspiracy party down here, they're telling everybody at the Meet the Candidates events that they're fluoridating the water secretly. Secretly, they've been doing this. There's no fluoride in our water here. I'm terrified if they get into government because instead of a conservation minister, we'll probably end up with a conspiracy minister. But yeah, we've got lots of issues here. Most of them are water-based. So obviously rising sea levels is another issue here. So most of Canterbury's issues are all around water.
I mean, Reese is absolutely right that there are different environmental concerns in different parts of the country. And that's why we can't have a one size fits all. We have to have a catchment by catchment approach and the right farm in the right place. And if you're talking about water rights, the amount of water you can safely allocate in the West Coast is very different from the Canterbury Plains, for instance. So it is kind of ridiculous to think that you can have a blanket approach for the entire country. Mm-hmm. That's why we don't do that. The experts say don't do that. This is a quick one from Jenny. Many parties do not have a policy on defence. Do you have one? No, we don't have one yet. We typically spend hundreds of volunteer hours developing each of our policies. This is one of the things that makes us really different from other parties. So it does mean we are going to have fewer policies at the moment than other parties. Honestly, if you want to have a bit of a laugh, pick up a manifesto from one of the big parties. There are still policies that they haven't released. It's probably because they haven't transcribed them from the napkin they scrawled them on and to put it on the website. They really do just make things up without, so I'm sure there are some of them that they think about, but because they won't have a policy on everything, they will just make things up. Stuff that sounds good, stuff that tests well in focus groups. We spend hundreds of hours researching and talking to experts. So there are a lot of things that are really important and that we really care about that we haven't been able to develop policies on yet. However, over the next 3 years, if you have an issue that you're passionate about and that you have some expertise about, then we'd love to hear from you. And we have a policy committee, but we also bring in experts on particular areas to develop policies on new areas, and defence might be one of them. Hayden asks, when is the next Meet the Candidates in Christchurch?
I've only got a few left. I've got 2 in Akaroa, which is not quite Christchurch. It's a bit of a drive. I do have one. It's a unique one. It's at a comedy club on the 10th of October, right in the city centre, at the new comedy club there on St. Asaph Street. It's at 5 p.m. Currently, there's only a few candidates, a couple from the Labour Party and myself. I reached out to some Greens candidates to see if they'd go. National and ACT are just kind of blowing that off. But it should be fun because I'm definitely going to bring a bit more of a light-hearted approach to it. and I get to battle some sitting MPs that I haven't got to talk with in other debates. So I've got a couple real good zingers lined up already.
Nice. Josh asks, what are your policies on what should be compulsory in schools? I'm all for having money management and budgeting taught from a young age. Is it hard to find teachers that are good at this, or why is it not already taught?
I'd have to phone in Naomi for this one.
Yeah,
but one thing
her.
I see is, and Naomi's kind of confirmed that for me, is more mental health and resilience training for young people. Because we try to look at everything in terms of mental health and health as a preventative thing, having that training in school is very, very important.
Two things that we do want to bring into the school curriculum are civics education, really important. And I found that some of you will have seen, I've made quite a few videos on how MMP works and how voting works. This is the kind of stuff that I feel like it's essential for people to know if they're going to effectively participate in democracy, not just at election time, but understanding how to participate in democracy and why you would want to participate and how democracy and government affects you. I feel like that's really essential to have a functioning democracy. And the other one is Te Reo Māori. There are some workforce challenges there, but we could be investing massively in that.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have kind of workforce challenges with teachers in general, right?
Yes, we do. A lot of retiring teachers. Okay. I think I've come to the end of the questions, unless I've missed any there. One thing I did want to ask is, how are you finding the Meet the Candidates? What is it, the Meet the Candidates debates? Are you getting on with your other candidates? Are you starting to get irritated with hearing the same speeches over and over again? How's it going?
I've really enjoyed all of our Meet the Candidate events. I caught up with John Mitchell earlier today, and he's organised another one in Te Anau for the 5th of Monday. So I have one more to attend. Te Anau, sorry. But yeah, I think we actually all get along really well. We all had to write an article for the Southland app the other day, and so the candidate down here, he who shall not be named, turned up to one event in Tapanui, and it was a bit weird. And then he goes and writes in his write-up that a Southland farmer that is clearly dominating the debating circuit. I mean, this guy's turned up to one meet. There was like 8 before that. It's just like, this is what we're dealing with. But all the rest of us are getting along really well. Mark Patterson turned up to one of our events, which was nice to meet him. And I think through the experience, because we're all new, David might be not so new, John, me and Joseph, we're all new. So this has all been a sort of a learning experience. The first couple were a little bit, but now, I mean, we message each other daily and talking about life, and we're all just mates now. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Is it all blokes in your electorate, Joel?
So it's me, David, John, Robert, and Judith. There's someone from the Social Credit Party that hasn't bothered to turn up to any events, and a new Conservative candidate that hasn't bothered to turn up to any events either. But so I haven't met them. I don't know what they're like, but the main 4 are definitely David Kennedy from the Greens, me from Top, Joseph from National, and John from Labour.
What about you, Ben?
I think I've been to 8 at the moment. I'm starting to lose count. I love them. I have heaps of fun at them. I've definitely learned a lot. I'm really lucky to have Eugenie Sage from the Greens and Dennis O'Rourke from New Zealand First in my electorate, to learn from them, to just see how they engage with people and I'm a fast learner, so just being able to watch them has been really cool. I know pretty much everybody's speech off by heart. I like to throw the twists and turns. I don't actually have an official speech. I'm very much a read the room, go as I go kind of guy. If I'm stuck there trying to read something, I get lost and I mumble and I, get confused. So I like to just kind of tell a story and kind of link it into policy and make that work. Most of our candidates are very nice. Had a pretty big barney with the New Cons candidate of one of their policies. There was one about young single mums being housed with conservative Christian couples who would show them the way, so he was asked about that. And then he was the only one that got to answer it. And the next question was about the referendum. So I gave super quick answers, and then I just boosted into tearing him to shreds because it's a rubbish policy, and that's the area I work in. He's basically going to probably find women in an increase of situations where they could be sexually abused and where they would refuse to live in that situation and end up on the street. So I tore him to shreds, and he didn't really like that. The conspiracy party candidate has bought a few tag-alongs at a couple of events, which have caused issues. Had people kicked out, yelling and screaming. Some of them have been quite traumatic. We had one event under level 2 where about 150 odd people turned up, and they had to kick 50 people out. Awesome turnouts though. But we all get on pretty well. There's a bit of tension, I guess, with the national candidate because she's on the CDHB and the council, and she's not taking any time off to campaign, but she's out there campaigning every day. And the CDHB down here is in a complete mess at the moment, and everyone's calling for them to resign. So often at the debates, when that's brought up, she'll be like, well, with my DHB hat, this is what we're trying to do, but with my national hat, we should fire the DHB.
Wow.
People just kind of yell at her like, why don't you resign? This is crazy. So she's getting heaps of bad press down here. Like as a person, I get on really well with her, but she's really struggling to get steam. So really the only people that are going for the candidate vote here are National Labour and myself. National and Labour are both new candidates. We've had a long-term Labour candidate here, Labour MP Ruth Dyson, who retired. The National candidate retired. This area traditionally party votes red, but party votes blue, but candidate votes red. So it's really kind of open to anybody. I'm just gunning it hard. And the thing I always say in my candidate debates is these two tell you that they will do all this community work and good stuff for you if you pay them $160,000 a year. But I've already been out here doing it for 5 years. No one paid me. I just went and done it. And I'm connecting pretty well. Eugenie Sage tried to poach me the other day. And she said, you're going to get a lot of these candidate votes. So it's been a pretty wild experience. I love them. I wish we had more. It's kind of the most fun part about campaigning, I reckon.
Yeah, I love them too. It's probably with noting that the three, I do theatre, the three of us are possibly all performers at heart. So get us in front of an audience and we're pretty happy.
I always wanted to be a stand-up comic. So this is kind of when I'm standing up there, it's like, oh yeah, this is my foray into comedy. So you have more of a lighthearted approach. You
should do it, Ben. I've done it once. I did like a raw meat night. It was good. It was lots of fun. Hey, it's 9:00. I think we are so lucky to have you at top, and your electorates are so lucky to have you as their potential representatives. And I hope you do really well. I know you are doing really well. Yeah, you're very appreciated, and I'm so feel very lucky that I got to talk to you both for an hour tonight, because it's it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you again to Joe and Adam for hosting. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your commenting, your sharing, your telling your friends. We've got just over 2 weeks to go. These things are now more important than ever. if everyone who voted for top last time could get one other person, we would be in Parliament. That doesn't sound so hard, right? Let's go out there and get them.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Look at that.
Okay to everybody.